Pam Madden-Boyer.
Oh, that's such a lovely ring to it, guys. Somebody might want to turn the volume down on this just a little bit. It's not that I don't have a big voice, because you could probably, I could conceivably make my voice heard out here without any microphone whatsoever. That is strictly as a result of what I retired from doing 3 years ago. I retired from the Central Kitsap School District. I was a certified school bus driver and a state certified school bus driver trainer. I could make my voice heard in a 40-foot long school bus full of 90 kids. So I figure if I can deal with that, driving down the road at 50 miles an hour and keeping an eye on the road and traffic and 90 kids behind my back, I can deal with the legislature. One of the things that I want to let you know is the Republicans here in Kitsap County have worked unbelievably hard. I have never been a part of a political party before, and I'll start by telling you that I was a Democrat up until about a dozen years ago. Their party platform left me in the dust somewhere. When I came on board with the Republican Party, it was because a friend of mine, longtime friend, saw some of my posts on Facebook and said, you know what, you seem to be very conservative. How about coming on board with the party, being a precinct committee officer? So that's how I got involved. And I got involved with the legislative district chairman of my area, the 23rd. Her name is April Ferguson. That young lady, since April is not here because she is swamped, and Elena is not here, I'm going to give you a little bit about each one of them. April has done literally the most amazing job in the state by getting 89 precinct committee officers for 107 positions. We have more Republican precinct committee officers in the north end of this county than the Democrats do. That young lady and her team work their buns off. She is amazing beyond belief. Between the three of us, we are all in complete alignment, and we're actually in alignment completely with Alicia as well. 100%. So if you elect a Republican slate from this area, I guarantee you things are going to change in Olympia. We've already started writing bills. We've got things in the works that we know we're going to present if we are lucky enough to represent anyone from Kitsap County. Number one thing that's got to be done in Olympia is the budget. The governor has not wanted to call a special session because I'm sure he didn't want to get everybody in and have a lot of non-consensus to a lot of what he's been doing. How many of you read either a newspaper, you watch the news, you get some news on Facebook? Do you know how much the gross national product has gone down in this last quarter? Over 32%, largest drop in decades. It's huge. Your budget is going to have to be tightened. There's going to be a lot of belt tightening. And I've already been working with a couple of different programmers and told them if I'm lucky enough to be elected as a senator from the north end of Kitsap County, one of the things I want them to do is go in and take a huge, very close look at the unemployment department. And that $650 million that went somewhere it wasn't supposed to go. Because quite frankly, none of the programmers that I've talked to said it was possible unless there were somebody inside helping that feat go along and greasing those wheels. And if that's the case, ladies and gentlemen, I guarantee you, the Republicans from this county will be pushing for somebody to be charged. Because this is not okay, because guess who they're asking to pay for that fiasco? You guys, each and every one of you, all of the employees, they have already talked about raising the employee payroll taxes. That is not what they need to do after so many people have been laid off and are hurting already. The B&O tax needs to go away. It's the most regressive tax out there. Any of you, how many of you are business owners? I should have guessed by some of his hand waves. That is long time known to be a very regressive tax, and it needs to be lowered or go away completely, because you can make zero money, or you can be in the hole on something and you're still paying tax to the governor on it. So there's going to be a lot of belt tightening. Some people are not going to be real happy. And then there is the issue of sanctuary states, city, and counties. Needs to go away. I don't know anybody that I've talked to in Kitsap County that wants to end up looking like Seattle. I don't want riots. I don't want fires. I don't want explosions in this area. I don't want to defund any police departments. Give a cheer for your officers. Every day when you're out there, tell them thank you, because they need it. They are feeling very depressed, underappreciated. It's unbelievable. I have a longtime friend who came to me and was trained as a school bus driver until she was waiting to get hired on in a permanent position as a teacher. Her husband happens to be one of the sheriff's deputies here, and he's an amazing man. I have met so many wonderful police officers, and I've had to meet with a few of them over 30 years of driving school kids. And she is very concerned. She's the wife of a law enforcement officer. And now it appears as though nobody's going back to school in person in this state. For guess what? 9 weeks? Where does that put you? What date does that give you guys? Election time. Isn't that an amazing thing? They already made that determination. Somehow, COVID is going to end right after the election. I don't know how that works. The next thing we're going to have to deal with is that absolutely, unbelievably disastrous thing called a mandatory sexual education bill. How many of you are aware that it was passed at past 2:00 a.m.? Did you know that they had to put a disclaimer on the televisions in those chambers because the Supreme Court ruled that content as being pornographic? Now, I don't know about you. I'm a grandma. I've got a granddaughter out here and my daughter, and there is no way that my grandchildren are going to be exposed to that. I would be too embarrassed to talk to you publicly in a large crowd about what this sex ed bill has in it. I know that huge amounts of you here, because I was over here at one of the churches at one of the drive-thrus, have worked tirelessly getting a record amount of signatures. 266,000 went to the Secretary of State's office. It is validated for the November election. Please remember, you vote to reject that bill. You want that bill thrown in a shredder. Just for your information, that bill was kind of written by associates of Planned Parenthood. Yeah, it's such a wonderful thing. And Inslee, of course, signed that bill very quietly. No fanfare, nothing. Signed it probably in the middle of the night because he didn't want anybody to know. It was voted on straight party platform. All the Democrats voted for it because they're heavily funded by Planned Parenthood. All the Republicans voted against it because we are, generally speaking, very pro-life. Does everybody out here value your freedom? I need to hear you louder. Do you value freedom? Good job, because that's what the Republicans are here to give back to you. We should not have to give back to you something that is in your national constitution and the state constitution, but that's the position we're in right now. And that is one of the reasons why April and the whole Kitsap County Republican Party worked really hard to get viable candidates on the ballot for every single position in this county. Please, if you ever have a chance, thank somebody in the Republican Party for working really hard to do that, because it's not easy. It is a lot of work for zero pay when you're running, and a lot of actually comes out of your own pocket when you start. I want to tell you a funny story. I still am in contact with my supervisor from school bus times. She came on board as the supervisor and then hired me as her driver trainer. She taught me an awful lot. She increased my leadership skills. She taught me what it meant to be absolutely perfect when it came to following laws, rules, and regulations, because in our job, we dealt with the lives every day. If we did something wrong, you could put a child's life in jeopardy. So you didn't do it, ever. Ever. So I still communicate with her, and I told her I was running. She lives up in Squim, and she said, I'm really sorry. I'm really glad that you're running. I'm sorry that I can't vote for you. But my husband said he'll donate $25 to your campaign if you're a Democrat, but he'll double that if you're a Republican. So I said, thanks, here's my address, I'll take that money. I would like to, Glennie, is it okay if I introduce?
Yes.
I would love to. It is an absolute honor to introduce the next speaker. He is one of the most morally upstanding people I've ever met. And I am so proud that he decided to step up to the plate and run as a county commissioner. I would like everybody to put their hands together and welcome Marcus Carter.
Thank you, Pam. Appreciate it. Well, thank you, everyone. I don't know if she knows me too well.